focus better. I can concentrate in my work.
Our church worship service lasts 45 minutes. For the last 2 years, I've not been able to stand that long. 2.5 weeks into wearing the X39 patch, the pastor said, "You can now be seated." It dawned on me at that moment that, my goodness, I've been standing this whole time, didn't realize it.
After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin become younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday evening introduction to a very special company, LifeWave, and the star of the show, X39. I am your co-host this evening, Robin, along with Gregory, and we have a special guest that I'm going to introduce in a short while. And what we do on this call is Gregory's going to do a very short presentation to introduce the company and the technology. Then I get to bring on our special guest. We have a really special guest tonight. Oh my God, I'm very excited. And then we're going to have a little visit with our healthcare practitioner, Dr. Shauna Young. And then after that, we're going to hear a few testimonials. So it's time to begin. I get to turn things over to Mr. Aloha Land.
Thank you, darling. And
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So hold on just a moment, because tonight we're going to be talking about activating your stem cells. How exciting is that? It's very exciting to us, and it probably will be to you too. So if you're brand new, get out your pen and a pad, because there may be some information you'll want to make note of. You know, I just want to give a personal confession. I finally figured out what I want to be when I get older, and that's younger. There's nothing so grand about getting old, is there? So we want to say welcome to the stem cell revolution, because surely everyone wants to look, feel, and live younger longer. And we find out that stem cells are the key, because they're a vital part of our immune system that helps repair and regenerate damaged cells in every organ, gland, and, you know, skin and tendon, bone in our body. So the problem is, the older we get, the fewer stem cells we have. And by age 60, only a small percentage remain. And the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. Now, what about stem cell injections? Because they're, you know, very expensive. They're very painful, can be risky, controversial, no guaranteed results. But you know what? They're very popular. Well, we've got good news for you, because now you can look, feel, and live younger with a historic breakthrough in stem cell technology. It's a new wearable technology in patch form. It's affordable, safe, non-invasive, non-drug. It's a patented form of phototherapy that uses specific frequencies of light to improve and increase our stem cell activity. Now, this is the brainchild of our visionary founder and CEO, David Schmidt, who's not only a brilliant scientist and researcher, the guy's a genius scientist, inventor with over 130 patents and patent pendings. And he's been on the leading edge of phototherapy research and science for over 20 years. David's already conducted over 80 clinical studies proving the efficacy of LifeWave phototherapy products. And there are many more studies always in the works. That's because LifeWave is an advanced technology company. And I need to update the slides because we're 19 years old and moving into our 20th year now. Wow, almost 20 years old. Founded in 2004 based on an energy-enhancing technology developed by David for Navy SEALs to increase their strength, their stamina, and performance without using drugs, stimulants, or caffeine. And it turned out to be so effective, it's now used by world-class athletes around the world in almost every sport. We have corporate headquarters, laboratory manufacturing in California, Utah, and Ireland. And we already have global distribution to 75 countries and 15 global distribution centers. So the word is getting out. It's so effective. LifeWave products are now used by pro and amateur athletes around the world in almost every sport. And you know what? The media has begun to notice, and so have you. So let's talk about how this amazing technology actually works. And it's based on a type of light therapy called photobiomodulation. And that's a mouthful, but LifeWave patches contain very specific combinations of organic materials and crystals. And when they're applied or near our body, they're activated by our own body heat. And they then begin to emit very specific and targeted wavelengths of light, which stimulate targeted and beneficial biochemical responses within our body. This is known as photobiomodulation, and it is the basis of our LifeWave phototherapy patches. Now, it's been a well-recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause specific changes within our body. For example, when we go out in the sun, a specific frequency of light causes our body to make vitamin D. We don't get a vitamin D download from the sun. We get a frequency download, and our body then manufactures vitamin D. Likewise, another frequency of sunlight causes our body to make melanin, the chemical that gives us a suntan. Well, LifeWave's patent technology is based on the same rock-solid, widely accepted scientific principle. Now, for the last 14 years, our focus has been in the field of anti-aging and regenerative science. And a few years ago, in 2019, we released to the global market the LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patch, and it has become a historic and affordable breakthrough in stem cell technology. Some are calling it the holy grail of anti-aging and restorative science, because we're actually doing what the multi-billion-dollar companies and big pharma have not been able to do, and that is X39 actually activates a very specific copper peptide that helps to activate our body's own stem cells, and at the same time, also altering gene expression towards a younger and more vibrant you. So X39 certainly has been a game changer for LifeWave. Our company's grown 25 times in size over the last 5 years. So it's a true breakthrough. And our inventor, founder, and CEO, David Schmidt, says, "This is my greatest achievement yet." And with an emphasis on yet, because he spends more time in the laboratory than in an office. And yes, we have patents. Yes, we have clinical studies and field results proving that X39 is actually turning back our biological clock, helping people to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And for us baby boomers, this is very exciting information. So that's the conclusion of my part of the presentation, Robin. I'm going to turn the rest of this over to you and our very special guest, one of our very most favorite NDs and PhDs, and I'll turn it over to you, honey.
Thank you. Oh, I need volume, huh? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. That was wonderful, Gregory. Thank you. I love that presentation, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too, because this is a very special company, and we just stepped into the 20th anniversary, like Gregory said, and they told us last week that they're expecting a 35 to 50% growth again this year. So we are at the early stages still of major hyper growth, and a great opportunity to tap into this amazing technology. So it is my joy, my pleasure. I actually been looking forward to this day, not knowing it would come, and I'm so happy it's here, because lots of you don't know that when I started 5 years ago, right when X39 came out, I was hosting this call with Dr. Nicholas after Kai had done it for like 11 years. And then I took over hosting, and then Dr. Nicholas left and Dr. Shauna joined us. And Dr. Shauna and I did Tuesday nights together for, I don't know, a few years. It was just the Robin and Dr. Shauna show. And I love this woman, and she is such a gift to our community. I'm so happy that she's here this evening and back on our rotation. And just a little bit about Dr. Shauna. She is a naturopath. She has a PhD. She's written 2 books. She is the founder and owner of Assertive Wellness, based out of Boise. She started it in Colorado back in the early 2000s. Moved to Boise. Thousands of people have traveled from every single state around the country to see this woman. She's very special. She's not just a naturopath. She's not just a doctor. She's not just a very brilliant woman. She has great wisdom and some very special gifts. And I know when we were going through Gregory's major health challenge. She was a huge, huge gift to us to guide us through those challenging waters. And I am thrilled. Come on in, Dr. Shauna. There she is. Uh-oh, you unmute, please. Need to unmute.
Hello.
Hi. You're looking gorgeous. It's
Thank
so
you.
nice.
So are you. It's good to see you.
It's so nice to see you. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start, but I know a lot of you know Dr. Shauna, and those of you that don't are going to fall in love with her right away because she's amazing. And it's so we're so blessed to have such incredible practitioners involved in LifeWave. It's a very special group of people that I think everybody notices who's showing up at this company. It's not just another business. It's not just another product. It's a very, very special situation. So, Dr. Shauna, let's start in the beginning.
Okay.
Because you got introduced just about 5 years ago too,
Yep.
to LifeWave and to X39. And you had, what is it? Because as a doctor, you get approached all the time with all kinds of products and things. What had you take a closer look at this and then eventually use it for yourself and then your patients?
Well, to be honest with you, the first thing was because Judy Daniel was the one that told me about it. And if Judy Daniel says it's good, I got to take a look at it. That's right at the top. I got to say that. Okay. But the X39. Okay. So the X39 speaks to me on a lot of levels. As a doctor, the primum non nocere, first do no harm, that means an enormous amount to me. And anytime that you are giving somebody something, you're running a risk. I mean, I've been in naturopath 22 years, and I've even seen people react to the xanthan gum that's in a gel cap or the titanium writing. It's just when you're working with people, and especially when you work like I do. I'm primarily a health detective. The reason people come from all over the country to talk to me is because people have very often been to 12, 10, 15, 20 different doctors and nobody knows what's wrong with them yet. So a lot of times, exactly. So a lot of times I'm looking for this something that's this big, that's going to be the difference. So anytime that you're giving somebody absolutely anything, no matter how safe or efficient it's been with other people, you're running a risk. So one of the things that appeals to me with LifeWave and with wearable technology like this, there's nothing in there. There's nothing. It's like there's nothing to react to. You put it on, and your body does all the work. There's no chemical, there's no anything there. It's just that the way I think of the X39 is it's like it's a computer chip that's been programmed. And you just take that computer chip and you put it on your body, and then the computer chip goes to work and starts, creating all these responses and doing all these things. But I love the idea. I love giving somebody something that I know won't harm them, because your body will not harm itself. And so when you are using the X39, it does exactly what it's supposed to do, no more, no less. And it takes the work off of this, and it does things for people that we can't do as doctors. We don't have the technology. But it speaks to me in another fashion too, because I have what's called an MC1R gene.
I was going to ask you about that to share with people.
Yeah.
You'll need to know about the redheaded gene.
Yes. MC1R gives you red hair and blue eyes, good teeth, good bones, good immune system, all that stuff. But it also makes medication not work or work badly. They noticed in hospitals several years ago that if somebody reacted badly to any kind of medication, most particularly anesthesia, and it either didn't work at all or it horrible side effect or whatever, that they were almost always redheads. And so they started kind of jokingly calling it the redhead gene, but then they kind of found out over time and not too long ago that it is an actual gene, an MC1R. And they used to think that it was a new emerging something, that was coming up. But I'm an archaeological nerd, and I was reading a while back that Robin keeps laughing. They found a cave of people, and 21 people, and it was the oldest human remains they'd ever found. It's like in Russia. And of 21 people, like 19 of them had MC1R genes. So this is not something new. This is something old. But at this point, only 1% of 1% of the world is carrying this gene. But when you have it, it means something very special to you when you can do this. I can't, an Advil or whatever, nothing, okay? But an ice wave, bang, okay? An X39, boom. An Eon, bang, okay? These, because my body's doing the work and I'm not putting something in there. So I think that, you know, and the X39 helps me so much in my practice. So many of the LifeWave ones do. But I think that it has a special meaning for me because of that MC1R gene, because I can help people with this that nothing else can get to. And I think it really speaks to my soul, basically, probably because, a lot because of that.
Wow. And for those of you out there in the world, it's hard to imagine that a pain med won't work. And you know, I just recently had an experience where no pain meds worked on me, and I was in severe pain, and it was intense. I don't want to get into it, but boy, I really feel for you because I have been there now, but you live that way your whole life. And so to have something like you said, do no harm, nothing's going in the body, and the body does the work, and the body's designed to come back to homeostasis, and it gives it the support. Now, I know you have a gazillion stories. You know, when I think about one of the earlier, well, you know what? Why don't you share one of them? Because that story of that young girl is so amazing. And I was going to have you share your burn story, the one that could walk, that traveled.
Oh, you were talking about, okay, because when you said young girl, I thought, we better narrow that down.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about the one that I worked with that was paralyzed, basically.
Right. That traveled from Colorado to see you.
Arizona, actually.
Arizona. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
She at the time was very young, 19. And when you say someone is in a wheelchair, you kind of picture somebody sitting, you know, in a wheelchair with their arms and that kind of stuff. And so I was not really ready. She was more like a jellyfish. She was laying in the wheelchair. She was strapped in by her chest and her legs to keep her from falling out. She couldn't speak. She was responding to me in that she was looking at me, you know, with her eyes, and she could maybe nod like a little bit, but and nobody could just figure out what was happening. And actually they had even come up with a diagnosis. She was faking it. And I thought, well, how do you fake this? You know, I mean, but that a lot of times they'll say that when they don't know what's happening. So she, as it turned out, her pituitary gland had crashed. And so it kept all the minerals out of her body, and it kept her body from making the electrical connections that her body needed to make. But what do you do with a kid, a beautiful girl that can't swallow and can't eat and can't, you know, what do we do, you know? So I had started working with her pituitary gland, and we were doing some things like that, and it was creeping slowly along, but at least forward. But then the X39 came into my life. And I was right when I was already working with her. And I thought, here we go. My favorite football player, John Montana, Hail Mary, let's try it. You know what I mean? And we put the X39 on her, and it was like, I think the only word is magic. You know, it was just this incredible combustion engine that started in this girl, you know, and her body just started churning out, her 19-year-old body, you know, just started churning out those stem cells. And the stem cells were coming out going, okay, where do we go now? Oh, over there. Okay. Oh, neuron. Oh, you know, as stem cells do, you know, they're running around figuring out what they need to become and where they can go. And you could almost watch it happen. it was going so quickly. And it turned the corner for her in a way that I don't know. I don't know how far we could have gotten her or how long it would have taken. But I can tell you that she walked down, you had to get me to tell us when, didn't you, Rob?
You'll make me cry too. It's
I
so
can tell you that she walked down the aisle on the arm of her husband 2 years later.
wow.
And she came to the office. She came when I had first moved to Boise, and we were talking, and she was trying to decide if she wanted to wear flats or if she wanted to wear heels for her wedding, because they were going to be on grass. And her mother and I just both burst out crying. We were just like, okay. And she's like, what? But she couldn't, she's sitting there trying to figure out if she wants to wear heels or not when she couldn't speak a couple of years prior. And I credit that to the X39 because, as I said, what we were doing was helping. But it was so slow, and it's just that stem cells decide what they need to be after they're already created. A stem cell is created in your body and then it becomes whatever it needs to be. Somebody was talking to me the other day, and they said, well, stem cells are, tinker toys. And I said, I just love it when people quote me back to me, because that's actually my line, of saying that it's the tinker toys or it's the little Zumba machines, but that's how stem cells are. They are put into your body so that they can become what it is they need to be, because the natural state of your body is homeostasis. That's the natural state. And I think people have lost that concept. They start to think that their natural state is less than good and that you have to do something crazy to make it be good. But the natural state of your body is homeostasis. And it's only what we do to it that makes it less than that. So anything that we can do to restore the homeostasis in our body is going to be what we need, to create that agelessness for ourselves.
It's such an amazing story. I mean, I remember tracking it over time. It was incredible. And, Dr. Nicholas talks about enhancing the clinical outcome, because as a doctor, you have your tools and you have a lot of them, but this is a special one that helps all the other tools work better. And, I quote you all the time too, by the way, the little, the tinker toys and the vacuum.
Zumba.
I
get that one a lot.
Those stem cells are always looking for work,
They got to run around and find those hairballs.
Yeah. Just like that little vacuum scooting around the house looking for work. So, I mean, it's so beautiful. And so you've incorporated this in your practice and you've seen lots of people, and that story is a miraculous magic story. And it's wonderful to hear those, but the everyday stories of improving the quality of life for people and giving people hope.
Mm-hmm.
It's so amazing that we can do that. So when you're introducing this product to your patients, how do you do that? And how do you say, help them understand how to get the maximum benefit out of utilizing this technology? What do you say to them?
Pretty much what Gregory was saying in the beginning, because explaining photobiomodulation, I mean, say that 3 times fast. I think they're starting to have people say that, at the drunk checkpoints now. So it's a mouthful, and trying to get people to understand what that is. So I tell that same story of the sun. The sun, it's all about frequency and that computer chip. When the sun hits at this angle, it creates vitamin D. If it hits at this angle, it creates melanin. So it's all about, frequency. And it's all about your body taking care of itself. And also, too, because I have so many mystery patients, it does help to give them something that they know will not cause an issue. Because I have people that the very slightest, tiniest, thing can cause them to have all kinds of crazy reactions because they've been through so much already. And so I tell them, look, we're going to go down to basics here. And what we're going to do is we're going to work this. I'm going to give you the opportunity. We're going to give you a little bit of time, and we're going to create more stem cells. And then I'm going to draw them a roadmap. Okay. And that's what they're like, oh, okay, because it gives them a chance to catch up, and a chance for their body to start taking care of itself again. Because what I find sometimes with people that have been ill chronically or ill for a long time is that their body has forgotten that it's supposed to be in charge. And sometimes I find people, I use a bioelectric form of testing, and it gives me how well your immune system's working. And I see people in negatives. It's like their immune system isn't even 10%. It's like negative 10%. And this is a person who's been ill and hopeless. Hopeless, that's the word, for so long that their body isn't even turned on anymore. And I get into this challenge of, how do I get their body interested in getting in the game again? How do I get their body to ante up and play again? And the X39, sometimes it has been the only, smack in the face. It's been the only thing that we can do to get it turned on again and to get it. And people tell me all kinds of interesting things about the X39. I love, they go like, I feel lighter. I feel, and I had a woman call me a couple weeks ago, and she said, I don't know if this has anything to do with anything, but I feel hopeful.
What's that worth?
And Robin, that's what I said. I said, that is worth everything that we do. Because if we can just get people back in the game, and if your body is turned off, then your brain is turned off. You're hopeless, but when your body starts throwing out those stem cells, your brain goes, whoa, wait, hold up. Are we going again? Are we going again? And it's ready. Your body's always ready to jump back in. It's just sometimes it's the coach to get in the game and show it where to go.
So what do you say to them? Here's this new technology, how do you explain it to them? And then how do you explain how to use it so that they get the best result?
Well, that's an interesting thing, because I think that, I'm good at a lot of things, but David Schmidt created these. And there's no possible way that I can do that. So I do it the way David Schmidt says to do it, and I tell people to start with the X39 either on the back of their neck or, right under their navel, 2 fingers under their navel or whatever, leave it on for 12 hours, take it off, put another one on after another 12 hours. Now, this is what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, well, does it run out of power or something like that? It's not really that. There's no engine. It's that you want to avoid what's called attenuation. And attenuation is like, think about an alarm, okay? Your phone, your alarm, boom, boom, blah, 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 and you're like, oh, yeah. And you go to turn it off. But if you don't turn it off and it just keeps going and going and going, then you start ignoring it and you start not even hearing it anymore. That's attenuation. So, it's like somebody tapping and then you don't even feel them doing it anymore. So for the X39 to work at its absolute most power, you have to take it off for a while so that the signal stops. And then when you put it back on, then the signal begins again. So you don't want your body to get so attuned to this signal. It's kind of like too much of a good thing, where your body gets so attuned to that signal that it's no longer working. So I'm very adamant about the fact that it needs to go on and then stay off, and then come on and then stay off. Yeah. And you have to be consistent with it. You can't.
Consistency, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And what about?
What? Well, that is part of everything I do, the hydration. I forget sometimes about that because I beat that into people's heads so hard. You can tell people to take all kinds of things. You can tell them to eat kitty litter and they'll go, oh, the kind with the sand crystals, or, but if you tell them to drink water, they're like, what? I can't drink water, And so one of the things that I do beat into people is not only drinking water, but how to drink water. my first book, a lot of reviews, and you know what people mention all the time? They say everybody says drink 8 glasses of water a day, but they don't tell you how to drink it. And number one, it's not 8 glasses of water a day, it's half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you want to drink 50 ounces of water. If you weigh 200 pounds, you want to drink 100 ounces of water. So it's not like 8 glasses of water a day. But what a lot of people do is they're carrying around their bottles, and that's become a very sort of thing. You know, what was this one reason, $50 or something for a water? You know, there's like, so people are really big on these water bottles and all this kind of stuff. But the problem is that they're glugging the water. And that's, people say, I can't drink water because then I have to go to the bathroom, right? Well, if you sip, then you don't. Think of it like a plant. Okay, you've got a potted plant, and if you take an 8 ounce glass of water, and if you pour that whole 8 ounces in there, it's going to flood. It's going to flood the plant. But if you pour a teeny bit in there and let it soak in, and a little bit more, and let it soak in, and a little bit more, then that whole 8 ounces goes in with absolutely no problem. And your body's the same way. Your organs, your bladder, kidneys, all that, there's only so much room in there. And if you throw like a whole ton of water in there, then your body's going to go, get rid of this. I don't want this. I'm not carrying this around. But if you put a little bit in there, just a few sips, just 2 or 3 sips, and then let it dissipate and go into your body, and then you take 2 or 3 more sips and let it, you know. So you want to be a drip line, not a sprinkler. You know,
That's another thing I quote you on. Be a drip system, not a fire hose.
Exactly. You know, the sprinkler you turn on.
I'm so glad you're back, because I quote you all the time. I have learned so much from you, and so is everyone else. It's so great. Okay, so consistency, 12 on, 12 off, and hydration, and sipping, being a drip system, not a fire hose. Okay,
Yes.
I want to ask you, is there anyone who should not be using this technology and this product?
Well, really, you know, again, I have to default completely, you know, with David Schmidt and with the company. You know, the only contraindication I've ever seen is people that have had organ transplants or something, and that are on, you know, particular drugs that are to make them not reject the organs. You know, you don't want to improve the immune system on somebody like that, you know, when the whole point is to, you know, defeat that purpose. But really, other than that, I mean, I've got these on babies. I've got these on, you know, elderly. I've got, my dog is wearing, well, my dog is right there. Anyway, she's wearing one. You know, I think, well, here we go. Robin, here we go again. Okay. This is another one of my things. I always say that if I had my way, then we would just fill a helicopter full of X-39s, and we would just do a New Orleans confetti whoosh, you know, out on everybody, so that everybody could try them, and it's just one of those things that the world would just be a better place, and it would certainly be an easier place for doctors if everyone was wearing an X-39.
Maybe David will do that as part of the 20th anniversary.
Ooh, that's cool. Can I go on the helicopter?
Well, we got to have the chocolate infused with light infused rum and brandy. And
Whoa.
at the convention, we all got to taste the light infused brandy.
Okay.
You never know with David. He loves surprising us. Well, just a few more quick things, and then we'll share a few testimonials. People in our culture, unfortunately, expect things to work really fast. And, you know, if someone is just getting started, how long do you recommend that they use the patches, you know, and really commit to them consistently?
Well, it matters on their situation, obviously. You know, I mean, you know, with some people, you know, you're not working with as much, or sometimes too, like a person like myself that doesn't have anything, you know. I mean, I don't have any pain. I'm not, you know, so somebody like me puts on an X-39, and you can't expect a big bang out of it. You know, it's like when Robin and I were doing the calls for a couple of years, people would call and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I put this on, and 5 minutes later, you know, and they have, and so other people would be disappointed because they weren't experiencing the big bang. And I always told them, number one, count your blessings, because if you're not having a big bang, that means there's not as much going on. because obviously, the big explosion is going to happen, the worst things are. So be happy. But you can't, I always want people to commit to a minimum of about 60 days where they just say, okay, I'm just going to wear it and I'm just going to see, and I'm just going to let this be on there. And, and I think that we have to, again, always, but especially in the last few years, there's been a lot of desire for big bangs and a lot of, people want to know that they're getting what they're for their money and, that kind of stuff. And so I get a lot of phone calls now about people asking about the X39 or asking about various products that I use. And they're like, I'm not feeling anything. So is this doing anything? And I say, okay, well, when was the last time you were sick? Like a cold or the flu or, whatever. And they're like, I said, okay, if you have to go, then there you go. There it is. That's what it's doing, and it's you don't feel your immune system getting better, and you don't feel, it's not like, taking B12 and you're like, I need to dust the ceiling fan. It's not like that. It's just that you have to create a trust in your body, and you have to create the trust that it's going to renew itself and take care of itself. But you have to be able to give it time. You can't expect anything really to create that immediate response. And a lot of people are used to that because they have a headache, they take a pill, their headache goes away. But people like me, that doesn't work that way. So I think I'm a little more used to knowing that you have to trust and let things happen and kind of create it. But I always ask people, look, you need to commit to this. This needs to be something that you just do it and you just put it on. And if, and then we'll track when I talk to you, we'll track it and we'll see what's changed and we'll see what we can find. But it isn't always something that you just have this huge response on.
Yeah. And when people say, oh, I'll try it for a month, I said, no, don't even try it for a month.
Don't even bother. Yeah.
You're not willing to commit to 60, 90 days. Don't even.
Well, I say the same thing very often to people who don't want to wear it correctly. They're like, well, can I do it every other day? Can I do, and I'm like, don't even go there. Unless you want to commit to it, then you're not going to see the response that you want. Yeah. And it's like I tell people, take 3 of these twice a day, and they take once a day and can't figure out why they're not feeling anything from it. This is the same thing. You have to commit to this. It has to be part of a protocol that you're working on. And you can't, and a patch all by itself, as everyone knows, is not going to do a whole job for you. I mean, you still have to drink water. You still have to eat good food. You still have to get some exercise and oxygen. You have to go walk barefoot on the grass. You need things in your body besides just this. But this is the kickstart. This is this is what gives you that jump. And to tell you the truth, funny, I don't even know if I told you this, Robin, and that would be weird. Because I tell you everything. But after I've been wearing the X39 for like 6 months, I'd have patients kind of wander in and they'd be like, oh, did you, you look really good. And I couldn't figure out what was happening. And I realized they were thinking, well, you're naturopaths, so you probably didn't get any cosmetic surgery done. But, they were like, and it took me a long time to figure out that's what they were talking about. And that was about 6 months into me wearing the X39. And so even if I didn't feel it, obviously it felt something. My stem cells were going, let's see, what can we do today? I know, let's go work on some skin cell. If it doesn't have anything major to fix, it's going to fix all the minor stuff. So I'm plenty happy with that.
That's good too. All right, my dear, any other final things you want to say to our audience this evening before we share a few testimonials?
Yeah, you know what, I do, because since there's some new people on here, I do want to mention one thing that I've been hearing over the last year or so, 2 years. People are trying to save money, and I totally get that. I mean, I'm saving money. Everybody is doing what they can do. Okay. But unless you wear the X39 correctly, it's not going to work. So I've had people say, well, can you cut it in half? Okay. And I know. And what that does is that is a complete and total misunderstanding of how this product works. Okay. And strangely enough, I just had this conversation with somebody this morning. And people still have the idea in their head that there's something on the patch because they're used to, you know, like a pain patch that you put on and it gives you pain medication, or, you know, something transdermal. And so they're getting this feeling that they can use half the patch or they can use something like that because it's transdermal. This is not transdermal, okay? It is about the frequency, and it's about that computer chip, that pattern. And if you break that pattern, then it's useless. So if you cannot break the pattern, you know, you have to not disturb, you know, that part of it. And so again, I think that people, a lot of times they want to say, well, this didn't really work, or this isn't really something. But if you're not doing it correctly, how do you know? So that's one of the things. I really want people to understand that this is impactful, and this is something that, you know, again, money, I understand, but this is so much less expensive than anything else that would do half the job. So, you know, a lot of times I even encourage people to prioritize it over, you know, a lot of other things. And I really tell people to prioritize it over, I hate to sound like this because it makes me sound like somebody's grandma, but it's like, don't buy your coffee in the morning, you know, make your own coffee. If you're spending $4 or $5 every single morning for a cup of coffee, just put that into the X39 instead. You know, let's reprioritize it.
A latte budget from David Bach. Yes.
And let's prioritize this first.
Yeah, let's put our investment here. Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you. That's really, really helpful because a lot of people didn't know. They think, oh, I'll just use half. I'll cut it in half.
Yeah.
No.
They don't understand the basic of the technology because this is the only thing like that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now let me see what we got going on because we have some questions. We're not doing questions tonight, everybody. We used to do questions on Tuesday night. Now the questions are on Sunday night on Connie's Zoom, and that's where we have a whole bunch of practitioners answering the questions in the chat.
And you can always call me.
Huh?
And they can call me.
And why don't you put your contact information in the chat?
Okay.
Because we always want to support our practitioners and really as distributors, and I think as brand partners, we need to remember you might know a lot, but we're not healthcare practitioners. And when someone has a serious health situation, please do refer them to one of our practitioners because we are not doctors, and that's not my job. But I can do basic things, but I'm really good at knowing where my limit is and when I refer them to a practitioner. Yeah. So let's see, let's look at the participants and see whose hands are up. Honey, are you working on that?
Yeah, Cheryl's got her hand up, and I promoted her to panelist. So Cheryl, you can turn your
Hi, Cheryl.
video and audio on.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Robin and Gregory and Dr. Young. I'm fascinated by every word you have to say.
Thank you.
My mother has been on the patches for 6.5 months. We both have, but she's 91 years young. And when she came to use the patches, Dr. Tom did a patch party with us, and she had some severe pain in the bottom of her spine, and she's also got some nerve damage. Well, and her pain level was at 10. And like you mentioned, Dr. Young, it was one of those kind of explosions within 10 minutes, the pain, and this was pain level 10 for a year. Yeah, and went to the orthopedic and, you know, all the things that they offer, which we went through which was terrible. Anyway, the pain went from 10 till 4 to level 2 within about 20 minutes.
Wow.
Big bang.
Today, she has no pain. And she got rid of the walker. She got rid of the wheelchair. She got rid of the cane. And she's looking younger. She's using 39 and 49, you know, getting stronger. And and people are really noticing, saying, "What are you doing?" As it's really showing, as well as she feels so much better. And so I love to tell that story. And just this last week, that orthopedic surgeon had her on an opiate, which she quit taking several months ago. But so she can't get the prescription anymore unless she goes back to the guy, which she doesn't want to take that stuff. So we fired him. So, and her body is coming back to, its full authority, and it's healing from within, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch. I wanted to share that.
Tom both getting in the truck.
Oh, and one other quick story. My brother has a really high truck, and last Friday he took her to breakfast, and he always had to kind of hoist her up because there's no running board, right? She got up in that truck by herself.
All right. You go, Mom. That's great. Isn't it fun to know that we can get better and better and better? Okay, we're running a little late this evening, and we have several more hands up, and we want to hear your stories. So please share briefly, okay? Because we want to hear them all. Christina, you want to? So Cheryl, thank you so much, and we'll bring on Christina. Want to put your camera on?
Okay, Christina, you're unmuted.
All right, perfect.
There you go.
All right. I want my daughter to tell her story. Hold on real quick, okay? Okay. Hi, I'm Brianna. I'm Christina's daughter. My mom got me using the patches. I started using X39 and X49. And then she told me about, I told her I was trying to lose weight, and she told me about the trio and how her and my dad had lost inches off of their waistline. And so I started using that, and I felt like I saw a reduction in my cellulite. And then I did that for about 3 months, and then I stopped. And then a couple months later, started using it again, and I used it for multiple months, but didn't see really much happening with my waistline that time. But what surprised me, I just kept using it though. And so I would use the trio, and then I would do it for a few days, and then not use them for a day or two, and then do the trio again for a few days and not use them for a day or two. So I did that for months. And then one day I was poking my stomach, and I was super surprised because after I had my third baby in 2017, the muscles above my belly button and below my belly button had separated, and I could fit like 2.5 to 3 fingers above my belly button in between the muscles, and then 1 finger below the belly button in between my muscles. And I was completely shocked because it was like 2023, several years later, and those muscles had all kind of like fused back together. And so I called my mom, and I was like, I haven't lost like inches around my waistline, but I am so excited because my stomach muscles are back together. I got punches again, and it's super exciting. So I was really happy about that.
It's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I can't believe you have how many children?
We have 4.
Oh my gosh, you look too young. Okay. Keep using your patches.
Thank you.
So Lavelle, would you like to share with us, please? Is he coming on, honey? There he is.
I'm coming on.
There you are. Hello, my friend.
I'm amazing, phenomenal, and extraordinary, just like everybody else is on this Zoom. Hey,
Right.
so here's the thing, Dr. Shauna, you're amazing. I was taking notes here. I'm a note taker. I've been taking notes for 25 years since I've been in network marketing. So everybody take these notes, because I always like to say facts tell, but stories tell. And here's the thing. A friend of ours, my story is not my story. One of my friends, I met her at an event that I went to last year, and she called me up, and after the event, she had already purchased like the platinum package. And she says, "Lavelle, do you have anything to lose weight?" And I said, "Yeah, we have something, SP6, it decreases desires, your cravings and things like that for sugar and stuff." And I hadn't heard from her for like, I don't know how long. She calls me up today and says, Lavelle, that SP6, I've lost 40 pounds on that SP6.
Wow.
And I, oh my goodness, 40 pounds on SP6. I'm ordering some SP6 today. And so I said, so I said, Ona, her name's Ona Moore. I said, Ona, so where did you place it? She said, I just placed it behind my neck and I placed it behind my belly button. So today she re-engaged, bought some more SP6. She's gonna send me some before and after pictures. This stuff is hands down phenomenal. But I want to share just briefly another quick story. A friend of ours, his name is Chuck Walker. He owns a beauty salon, hair shop in Pasadena, California. He had somebody in his chair. He was cutting his hair, and the guy had a high sugar attack. And he fell and fell down on the floor. And Chuck Walker has been using these patches for 4 years, just like us. And his brother was standing there, and Chuck was standing there. And they're like, call the ambulance, call the ambulance. And Chuck said, I'm gonna put those patches on him. And his brother said, don't put those patches on him. You don't know what this is gonna do. He put the patches on this guy. He put X39 and energy on it, and it stopped that whole situation. And his blood sugar normalized, and they canceled the ambulance coming. This stuff is a phenomenon, guys.
Wow.
This is a phenomenon.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your
God,
stories.
God bless everybody. Have a great one. Hey, and one other thing, sharing what is caring.
There you go.
Keep
Sharing is
God
caring.
bless everybody. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Lavelle. And the other hands went down. They disappeared, but we are running kind of late. So we're going to call this call to a close. And I just want to thank everyone for showing up this evening. I'm thrilled, Dr. Shauna, to be back with you again.
Great to be here. Hello, family. Missed all you.
Yay. Yay. The family's been waiting. We don't go anywhere. People come and go and they go away, but they come back. It's so wonderful. Good, but you're always part of the family. That's the deal. This is a community. It is a family. It is not just a company and products that change people's lives. We are really making a huge difference. Like Dr. Shauna said, giving people hope. So if you're new this evening and just checking us out, our invitation is to get started. Please get back to the person that invited you. And if it's just for yourself, we have a wonderful customer program. We have several different options, and you pick what's best for you. And if you're the kind of person that can't not share, we have a wonderful brand partner program, and there's wonderful compensation for you because we need your voice. You know, like Gregory likes to share, the patches don't come with legs and a mouth, and we need you. And so this company is growing, and it's just the most fun I've ever had changing lives. And I'm going to be a story soon. I'm working on my story right now. I'm 4 weeks into a major break in my shoulder, and we'll see what X49 does. To be continued on that one. So Dr. Shauna, thank you. Everyone who showed up tonight, thank you. Gregory, thank you. And all of you that shared stories, we're so grateful. And we'll say good night. I love it. Bye, everybody. And Shauna, please read the chat.
Oh, okay.
Before we end it. And maybe
Alrighty.
there's a lot of people that are so happy that you're back.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll do that.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.